Park wiped the grease from his hands with an old rag. He had spent the morning checking every pipe and wire in the engine room. The ship was ready for the long journey ahead. She always was when he took care of her. The wandering star sat in the docking bay of Orbital Station Gamma 7. She was not the prettiest ship in the station. Her hull had patches and scars from years of travel, but knew something that others did not. He knew that beauty meant nothing in the cold darkness of space. What mattered was heart, and this ship had more heart than any vessel he had ever seen. He should know. He had built her. 15 years ago had found the first piece of her in a junkyard. It was a small reactor core that everyone else had thrown away, but he saw something in it. He saw potential. Over the next 15 years, he had collected parts from across the galaxy. He had welded, wired, and shaped every piece with his own hands. The wandering star was not just a ship to him. She was his life's work, his daughter. But things had changed 6 months ago. A woman named had come to the station. She was tall, sharp, and dangerous. She had played cards with one night when he had drunk too much. He did not remember much about that night, but he remembered waking up to find that he had signed papers that said the ship now belonged to her. He had tried to fight it. He had gone to the station authorities, but the papers were legal. His signature was real and had friends in high places. So now he worked on his own ship as a simple mechanic. He slept in the cargo hold instead of his old cabin. He watched strangers sit in chairs he had built with his own hands. It hurt every single day. It hurt. Today the ship was preparing for a big job. They would carry expensive cargo through the veiled corridor. It was a dangerous route. Gravitational storms could tear a ship apart. Pirates waited for weak vessels. Most captains avoided it, but the pay was too good to refuse. Walked up from the engine room to find Captain on the main deck. She was talking to a group of well-dressed passengers, rich merchants who had paid extra for fast transport. Among them stood a tall alien with skin and 4 eyes. His name was Commissioner Tal, and he was an important official from the Galactic Union. Waited politely until the captain noticed him. "What do you want?" asked. Her voice was cold. "Captain, I wanted to ask about the journey. I usually stay in the engine room during long trips. The secondary console there helps me monitor the systems in." No, she did not even let him finish. "But Captain, the veiled corridor is dangerous. If something goes wrong, I need to be close to the core systems. I know this ship better than anyone." First officer stepped forward. He was a large man with a cruel smile. He enjoyed making life difficult. "The engine room seats are for certified engineers now," said. "We have for that. He has actual qualifications, not like some old junkyard rat. But I built this ship, every wire, every." Shoved him, stumbled back but did not fall. "You are cargo hold crew now, old man. You should be thankful we keep you around at all. Now get below before I throw you out of the airlock." The rich passengers watched with amusement. Commissioner Tal made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Humans and their primitive disputes," the alien said. "How entertaining." Captain waved her hand. "Go, we have important guests. Stop embarrassing yourself." Stood still for a moment. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from anger, from sadness, from 15 years of love being treated like garbage. But he said nothing. He turned and walked toward the cargo hold. A young woman watched him go. Her name was Han, and she was the ship's navigator. She was new to the crew, only 3 months on board, but she had good eyes. She noticed things that others missed. She noticed how his hand touched the wall as he walked. It was gentle, like someone touching the face of a loved one. She noticed how the light seemed to dim slightly after he passed, as if the ship itself was sad. Strange, she thought, very strange. Down in the cargo hold, found a spot between 2 large crates. He sat on the cold metal floor and leaned against the wall. He could feel the hum of the engines through the steel. The ship was waking up, preparing for launch. He pulled out an old from his pocket. On it were his original designs, every blueprint, every modification, every secret that he had built into this vessel. The ship shuddered as she lifted off from the station, closed his eyes and listened. He could hear things that others could not. The way the air moved through the vents, the rhythm of the power flowing through the conduits, the gentle heartbeat of the reactor. "Don't worry, girl," he whispered. "I'm still here. I'll always be here." Above him the lights flickered once, just once, as if the ship had heard him, as if she was answering. Smiled sadly and settled in for the long journey ahead. He did not know what was coming. He did not know that the veiled corridor would test them all. He did not know that soon, everyone on this ship would learn the truth. Some things cannot be stolen, some bonds cannot be broken, and some ships remember who truly loves them. The wandering star flew into the darkness of space, carrying her crew toward destiny. 12 hours into the journey, the wandering star entered the veiled corridor. From the observation deck, the view was both beautiful and terrifying. Space here was not empty. It swirled with colors that had no name. Gravity waves rippled through the darkness like waves in an ocean. Stars bent and twisted in the distance. It was a place where the universe did not follow normal rules. Captain stood at the center of the deck playing the perfect host. She had ordered her crew to transform the space into a luxury lounge. Fine drinks, soft music, comfortable chairs. The rich passengers were impressed. They laughed and drank and talked about their business deals. Commissioner Tal stood by the window, watching the chaos outside with his 4 eyes. "Fascinating," the alien said. "Your species builds such fragile vessels, yet you dare to cross places like this. Is it bravery or stupidity?" Captain smiled politely. "Perhaps a little of both, Commissioner, but I assure you this ship is more capable than she looks." "We shall see." Down in the engine room, things were not so calm. Stared at his console with growing panic. Warning lights were blinking everywhere. Yellow lights, red lights, lights he had never seen before in his training. He was 24 years old. He had graduated top of his class from the engineering academy. He had certificates on his wall and awards on his shelf, but nothing in his education had prepared him for this. The systems were not responding correctly. When he tried to adjust the power flow, the ship did something unexpected. When he tried to stabilize the shields, different shields activated instead. It was like the ship was speaking a language he did not understand. "This makes no sense," he muttered. "None of this matches the standard designs." He pulled up the ship's technical files, but they were incomplete, missing, as if someone had built half the ship from memory and never written anything down. The first major shake came without warning. The entire ship tilted hard to the left, glasses shattered in the observation deck, passengers screamed. Captain grabbed a railing to keep from falling. "What was that?" she shouted into her communicator. His voice came back, high and scared. "Gravitational wave, a big one. I'm trying to compensate, but the systems aren't." Another shake, harder this time. The lights flickered and went red. Emergency alerts filled every screen on the ship. Life support was failing. Navigation had locked up completely. The backup reactor was showing dangerous heat levels. Captain ran to the bridge, was already there, shouting orders that nobody could follow. Sat at her navigation console, trying everything she knew. Nothing worked. "Where is?" the captain demanded. "Engine room. He says he can't control anything. The ship isn't responding to standard commands." "Hit the communicator. Fix this now." "I'm trying," the young engineer screamed back. "But nothing makes sense. The architecture is completely custom. It's like the ship was built by a madman who never read a manual." In the cargo hold, Park felt every shake and shudder. He sat with his back against the wall, eyes closed, listening. To anyone else the sounds would be noise, chaos, fear. But to him they were words. He could hear the pain in the reactor's hum. Someone had pushed her too hard, too fast. He could hear the confusion in the power grid. The new engineer was trying to force her to work in ways she was not designed for. And underneath it all, he could hear something else. Anger. The ship was angry. He understood. They had taken her from him. They had changed her. Strangers walked her halls and gave her orders. And now, when she needed someone who understood her, she got a boy with certificates who treated her like a machine. She was not a machine. She was alive, and she was hurting. But did not move. He stayed in his corner, hands folded in his lap. Let them struggle, he thought. Let them see what happens when you take something that is not yours. The cargo hold door slid open. Hands stumbled in, grabbing crates for balance as the ship shook again. She called out, "Where are you?" Here, his voice was calm. She found him in the shadows. Her eyes were wide with fear. The ship is dying. The new engineer cannot figure out the systems. The captain is screaming, "We're all going to die out here." Looked at her, she was young, scared. She had done nothing wrong. "The ship is not dying," he said quietly. "What the alarms are?" She is angry. Stared at him. Angry? Ships don't get angry. Ships are machines. Shook his head slowly. "Your ships are machines. My ship is different." "Then help us. You said you built her. You said you know her. Please." Another violent shake. Somewhere above, metal groaned in protest. The hull integrity warning started blaring. Met's eyes. He saw something there. Not just fear, something else. Respect. Curiosity. She was the only person on this ship who had looked at him like a human being. "Tell me something," he said. "When they threw me into the cargo hold, did anyone speak up for me?" His face fell. She looked away. The answer was written in her shame. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I should have said something. I wanted to, but I was afraid of losing my job." Nodded slowly. He was not surprised. Fear made cowards of everyone. "Go back to the bridge," he said. "Tell the captain that if she wants my help, she will have to ask for it herself, properly. But we might not have time." "Then she better hurry." Turned and ran. The door closed behind her. Placed his hand flat against the floor. He could feel the ship trembling, scared, hurt, confused. "I know," he whispered. "I know, girl, but we need to teach them a lesson first. Just hold on a little longer. Can you do that for me?" The shaking seemed to ease just slightly. The lights steadied for a moment. The ship was listening. And somewhere deep in her metal heart, she was waiting for her true captain to return. The bridge of the wandering star had become a place of fear. Red emergency lights painted everything in the color of blood. Alarms screamed from every console. Smoke drifted from a panel that had burst into sparks moments ago. Through the main window, the swirling chaos of the veiled corridor seemed to mock them all. Captain stood in the center of it all, her face pale and tight. For the first time since she had taken this ship, she looked afraid. "Hull integrity at 42%, reported from her console. Her voice shook. "Another hit like that last one and we breach. Life support is failing in sections 3 through 7, another crew member added. "We've moved all passengers to the observation deck, but we're running out of safe areas." Slammed his fist against a console. "Where is that useless engineer? Why hasn't he fixed anything?" The door opened, stumbled onto the bridge. His uniform was soaked with sweat. His hands were shaking. He looked like a man who had seen his own death. "I can't do it," he said, his voice cracked. "The ship won't listen to me. Every time I try one thing, something else breaks. It's like she's fighting me." "She's a machine," shouted. "Machines don't fight." "This one does." The ship lurched again. A terrible grinding sound filled the air. Everyone grabbed for something to hold. Commissioner Tal pushed through the door, his face darker than before. His 4 eyes blazed with fury. "Captain," he said, his voice like ice, "you assured me this vessel was safe. You assured me your crew was capable. I am beginning to think you lied." "Commissioner, I..." Do you know who I am? Do you know what will happen to you if I die on this primitive human garbage? The Galactic Union will turn your species into a warning story. Your colonies will burn. Captain opened her mouth, but no words came out. The door opened again, walked in, pulling Park behind her. She had practically dragged him from the cargo hold. His face twisted with anger. Why did you bring this old fool here? We don't have time for. Shut up, shouted. Everyone stared at her. She had never raised her voice before. Just shut up and listen. He built this ship, every piece of it. If anyone can save us, it's him. Captain looked at. He stood calmly in the middle of the chaos. His clothes were dirty. His hair was messy. He looked like exactly what they had called him, a cargo hold rat. But his eyes were different. They were steady, clear, the eyes of a man who was not afraid. You, she said, can you fix this? Did not answer immediately. He looked around the bridge slowly. His gaze moved across every console, every panel, every wire. These were his creations, his children. He had built them with love, and strangers had taken them from him. Yes, he said finally, I can fix her. Then do it. No. The word hung in the air like a bomb. Stepped forward, fist raised. You worthless piece of. His voice cut through like a blade. Hit me and we all die. You need me. Every person on this ship needs me, so you will stand there and listen. Something in his tone made freeze. The first officer lowered his hand, face red with shame and rage. Captain's jaw tightened. What do you want? Money? Name your price. I don't want your money. Then what? Walk to the center of the bridge. He moved past the captain, past the officers, past the terrified crew. He stopped in front of the captain's chair. His chair. The one he had carved from asteroid oak 15 years ago. The one she had taken from him with a rigged card game. I want my ship back, he said. Full ownership. Legal and permanent. I want my workshop restored, the one you turned into a lounge for your rich friends. I want my cabin back, and I want every person on this bridge to hear you say it. You're insane, spat. We're dying and you want to negotiate. Yes, because this is the only time you will ever tell the truth, when you're scared, when you have no choice. Captain stared at him. Her pride fought against her fear. For a long moment, neither side won. Then the ship screamed. A massive gravitational wave hit them from the side. The entire vessel spun. People flew across the bridge. Consoles exploded. The main window cracked with a sound like breaking bones. Hull integrity at 31%, someone screamed. We're breaking apart. Commissioner Tal grabbed Captain by the collar. Give him what he wants. Give him everything. I will not die in this place. His pride shattered. Her face crumbled. In that moment she was not a captain. She was just a woman who did not want to die. Fine, she shouted. The ship is yours. Everything is yours. Just save us. Looked at her, say it properly, in front of everyone. Tears of rage and humiliation rolled down her cheeks. The wandering star belongs to Park. I stole it from him, and now I'm giving it back. Is that enough for you? Allowed himself a small smile. That will do. He turned and walked toward the door. His hand brushed against the wall as he passed. Hold on, girl, he whispered. I'm coming. The light steadied, just a little, just enough for people to notice. Watched him go with wide eyes. In that moment, she understood something important. This was not a man going to fix a machine. This was a father going to save his daughter. And the ship was waiting for him. The engine room was a disaster when walked in. Smoke filled the air. Sparks flew from damaged panels. The reactor hummed with a dangerous, uneven rhythm. Had tried everything he knew, and everything he knew had been wrong. But did not see disaster. He saw his daughter in pain, and he knew exactly how to help her. He closed his eyes and listened. The reactor was overheating because someone had blocked her cooling vents. The power grid was confused because someone had rerouted her pathways without understanding why they were built that way. The navigation was locked because the backup computer had taken control, and it did not trust the strangers giving it orders. Opened his eyes and got to work. He did not run. He did not panic. His hands moved with the calm confidence of a master craftsman. Every wire he touched he knew by name. Every panel he opened he remembered building. "I know," he said softly as he worked. "They hurt you. They changed you without asking. They treated you like property instead of family." He reached into a maintenance shaft and found a junction box that was not on any blueprint. He had installed it himself, years ago, for emergencies exactly like this one. "But we cannot let them die, can we? That is not who we are. We are better than them." He reconnected the original cooling pathways. The reactor's hum smoothed out immediately. "There you go, feel better." The temperature warnings disappeared from the screens. Han appeared in the doorway. She had followed him down, unable to stay away. What she saw made her stop and stare. Was talking to the ship, not giving commands, not reading manuals, talking, like two old friends having a conversation. And the ship was responding. Every time he touched something, it seemed to heal. Lights that had been red turned green. Alarms that had been screaming went quiet. The chaos was becoming order. "How are you doing this?" asked in wonder. Did not look up. He was opening another hidden panel, one that had never even noticed. "When you build something with your own hands," he said, "you put part of yourself into it. 15 years of my life went into this ship. My sweat, my blood, my dreams. She is not a machine to me. She is alive." "But that's impossible. Ships don't have feelings." Smiled sadly. "Your ships don't, because you build them in factories with strangers who don't care. You treat them like tools, so that is what they become." He pulled out a burned circuit board and replaced it with one from his pocket. He always carried spare parts. Always. "I built her differently. I talked to her while I worked. I named every part. I thanked her when she carried me safely through storms. I apologized when I had to cut into her hull for repairs." "And you think she understood?" "I know she did." The navigation system came back online. His console on the bridge lit up with a clear path through the corridor. On the observation deck, the passengers felt the ship steady. Commissioner Tal stopped his panicked packing. The merchants released their death grips on their seats. Something had changed. In the engine room, moved to the main control console. This was the heart of the ship, the place where everything connected. He placed both hands flat on the surface and closed his eyes. "I'm sorry I was gone so long," he whispered. "I'm sorry I let them take you, but I'm back now. I'm not leaving again, ever." The console hummed. The lights shifted from emergency red to normal white. Throughout the entire ship, systems began waking up properly, not the confused, fighting response they had given. A smooth, happy awakening. Watched with her mouth open. It was like watching a miracle. "She forgives you," she said without thinking. Opened his eyes. They were wet with tears. "She always does. That's what family means." Then a new alarm cut through the moment, different from before, sharper, more urgent. Checked her portable scanner. Her face went pale. "We have a problem. During the chaos, we drifted off course. We're in Void Reaper territory." The Void Reapers were the most feared pirates in this sector. They waited in the veiled corridor for damaged ships. They showed no mercy. They left no survivors. "How many?" asked. 3 ships closing fast." On the bridge, saw the same information. He slammed his fist against the console. "We have no weapons. This ship is a cargo hauler. We're dead." Former captain collapsed into a chair. All the fight had left her. "It's over. We survived the corridor just to die to pirates." But down in the engine room was smiling. He said, "What do you know about this ship?" "It's a mid-sized cargo freighter, rebuilt from salvage. no military capabilities. That's what everyone thinks. He walked to a wall that looked completely solid. That's what I wanted everyone to think. He pressed his hand against a specific spot. A hidden panel slid open, revealing a lever that should not exist. "What is that?" breathed. "When I built her, I was young and paranoid. I thought someone might try to take her from me someday. I was right." He gripped the lever, "so I made sure she could protect herself." He pulled it. The entire ship transformed. Hidden plating shifted across the hull, revealing armor that had been concealed for 15 years. Gun ports emerged from what had looked like cargo bays. A military-grade shield generator, salvaged from a destroyed warship and rebuilt piece by piece, powered up with a deep, satisfied hum. On the bridge, everyone stared at their screens in disbelief. "What's happening?" gasped. "Where did all this come from?" Commissioner Tal's 4 eyes went wide. "This is not a cargo ship. This is a warship in disguise." In the engine room, cracked his knuckles and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" asked. "To the pilot's seat, my seat." He looked back at her with fire in his eyes. "Nobody threatens my family." The Void Reapers had done this 100 times before. Their 3 ships moved through the veiled corridor like sharks smelling blood. They had spotted the wandering star drifting after the gravitational storm, a damaged cargo hauler, easy prey. They would kill the crew, take the cargo, and sell the ship for parts. The lead Reaper, a man named, opened a communication channel. "Attention, damaged vessel. This is your only warning. Surrender your cargo and prepare to be boarded. Resist, and we will turn your ship into dust." On the bridge of the wandering star, everyone heard the message. The passengers on the observation deck began crying. The crew looked at each other with hopeless eyes. Then Park walked onto the bridge. He moved past the frozen crew. He moved past who stared at him with shock. He moved past Captain who could not even meet his eyes. He sat down in the pilot's seat, his seat, the one he had carved with his own hands, and placed his fingers on the controls. The console lit up at his touch, not the slow, hesitant response it gave others, a fast, eager awakening, like a dog greeting its master after a long time apart. "Open a channel," said calmly. Did it without question. Somehow, in the last hour, she had come to trust this quiet mechanic more than anyone else on the ship. His voice went out to the 3 pirate vessels. "This is Park, captain of the Wandering Star. I built this ship with my own hands. Every piece of her knows my touch. Every system answers my call." He paused. "Turn around now and I will let you live." On the Reaper flagship laughed. His crew laughed with him. "One old man threatens us, on a cargo hauler. This is the best joke I've heard all year." He turned to his weapons officer. "Kill them." The 3 Reaper ships opened fire. His hands danced across the controls. The wandering star moved like nothing the pirates had ever seen. She twisted between the energy blasts. She spun through the crossfire. She used the gravitational waves of the corridor, the same waves that had almost killed her earlier, to boost her speed and change direction in impossible ways. "How is this possible?" screamed. "No cargo ship moves like that." On the bridge, everyone grabbed for support as the ship flew through maneuvers that should have torn her apart, but knew exactly what she could handle. He had designed her for this. He had dreamed of this. "You want to know a secret?" said into the open channel. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "I built her in a junkyard, from pieces that everyone else threw away. They called it garbage. They called me crazy, but I saw what she could become." The wandering star came around behind the lead Reaper ship. The hidden guns powered up. She was born from nothing, raised in darkness, tested by storms, and she never stopped fighting, smiled just like me. He fired. The lead Reaper ship's engines exploded. The vessel spun out of control, crashing into an asteroid. The other 2 ships tried to flee, but the wandering star was faster. She hunted them through the corridor, dancing through gravity wells that would crush any normal ship, knew every secret of this space. He had crossed it 100 times. He knew where to hide. He knew where to strike. Within minutes, both remaining ships were disabled, their weapons destroyed, their engines crippled. They drifted helplessly in the cosmic storm. Open the channel one last time. Tell everyone you meet what happened here today. Tell them that the wandering star is not prey. Tell them that Park protects his own. He leaned back in his chair. Now get out of my sky. The crippled pirates managed to limp away. They would survive, but they would never forget. On the observation deck, the passengers stared at in stunned silence. Commissioner Tal's face had turned almost white. For the first time in his life, he had nothing to say. The wandering star flew out of the veiled corridor and into clear space. The stars ahead were calm and bright. The station was only a few hours away. They had made it. Found still in the pilot's seat, he looked tired, happy, complete. That was incredible, she said. I've never seen anyone fly like that. I wasn't flying alone. He patted the console gently. She did most of the work. She just needed someone who believed in her. Will you teach me how you built her, how you understand her? Studied her face for a long moment. He saw something there. The same spark he had felt when he found that first reactor core in the junkyard. Potential, hunger, love for things that others overlooked. It will take years, he said. It will be hard. You will have to forget everything you think you know about ships. I don't care, I want to learn. Nodded slowly, then I will teach you. Captain approached. Her pride was broken. Her power was gone. She looked like a different person. I suppose you want me off your ship, she said quietly. Thought about it. He remembered the humiliation, the months of being treated like garbage, the pain of watching strangers abuse his beloved vessel. Then he remembered something his father had told him many years ago. Revenge is a meal that leaves you hungry. Forgiveness is hard, but it feeds the soul. You can stay, he said. As crew, you have skills. Use them honestly and we will have no problems. Stepped forward, opening his mouth to argue, cut him off. You will work in the cargo hold for 6 months. After that, we will see if you have learned anything about humility. His face burned red, but he said nothing. He had no ground to stand on. The wandering star arrived at orbital station Gamma 7 to find a crowd waiting. Word had already spread about the battle in the corridor. Other mechanics, other builders, other pilots, they all wanted to see the ship that had destroyed a pirate fleet. Ignored them all. He had work to do. His workshop needed to be restored. His cabin needed to be cleaned. His ship needed care. But as he walked through the crowds, he felt something he had not felt in a long time. Pride, not the loud, empty pride of people like, the quiet pride of a craftsman, the pride of a father whose daughter had proven herself to the world. That night, after everyone else had gone to sleep, sat alone in his restored workshop. His hand rested on the hull. The metal was warm under his touch. I told you I wouldn't leave, he whispered, didn't I? The lights flickered softly, once, twice, a gentle pulse like a heartbeat. Smiled and closed his eyes. In the vastness of space, empires would rise and fall. Fleets would be built and destroyed. Great names would be remembered and then forgotten. But some bonds could never be broken. Some loves could never be stolen. And some ships would always remember who truly cared for them. The wandering star hummed contentedly in the night. Her father was home. And she would never let him go again.